Hey everyone, Razma here, back with my first Set 5 item guide. This is for the BF sword. Quick disclaimer before we begin, the units I have listed are not a definitive list, just an overall suggestion. There are plenty of 3-cost units that can utilize all these items in the late game. There are 1 and 2-cost item holders as well. I plan to do more comp-based, best in slot video guides in the next week or two once we see how the meta starts to shape up. But with that out of the way, let's get right into it. So we're starting off with BF sword here, and we're going to start off with Deathblade, which is 2 BF swords. So Deathblade isn't really much different than how it was in set 4.5. You gain 50 AD total, that's counting the 3 stacks you get from the ability, and you get 10 stacking AD on each takedown. So not much of a change. Works very well with a Hurricane and just your main AD carries. Aphelios, Draven, Jax, Darius. I think really it's best on Aphelios because he has an AoE ability to begin with. He doesn't really need the Hurricane to activate it, kind of like Draven or Jax would need. The Caustic Deathblade, though, that's where we're getting a change. So it has more AD, starts with 65 AD, and gains 15 stacking per takedown. But you lose 20% of the unit's max health, what is holding the Caustic Deathblade. So it's more AD, lose max health. So you're trading max health for more damage. That one's a trade-off. I don't know how much if the 15 starting AD or 15 stacking over the 10 stacking is a big enough of a difference to warrant going with the Shadow version here, but I haven't playtested this one enough to know for sure. I will update as soon as I know. So going to the next sword item, which is a BF sword plus a recurve bow, which is a Giantslayer. Now, a Giantslayer is the same exact as it was in set 4.5. I think the 70% nerf was live on 4.5 from the 80, so attacks and abilities deal 10% more damage, increased to 70% more damage if the target has more than 1750 max HP. Item works on any 4-cost damage dealer. I've got them all in the picture right here pretty much. This isn't even a full definitive list, it's just giving you guys ideas of what you can do. The Evil Giantslayer is different. So, attacks and abilities just deal a base 45% more damage. But if the target has less than 1100 max HP, the damage that unit deals with the Evil Giantslayer is actually decreased by 15% instead. So the big differences here between the Shadow item and the regular, the Shadow Giantslayer and the regular Giantslayer, is that Shadow Giantslayer will consistently deal more damage on the majority of units because it doesn't have the max health, like the 1750 max health threshold. But if a unit has lower than 1100 max HP, it will be doing less damage to that unit than even just a base item would be. So it'll actually be lowering your damage overall. Most 2-star units are gonna have more than 1100 max HP. The only thing to look out for here is if someone is using, like we just saw, the Caustic Deathblade or a couple other items that can lower max HP, that could actually put them lower than this 1100 max HP breakpoint, which could then actually mean you're doing less damage. But I feel like if a unit has less health than that anyway, they're gonna get killed in 3 or 4 hits. So I don't really think there's too much of a downside on the Shadow version. It's just a good overall damage item. Now we move to Guardian Angel, which is a BF sword and a chain vest. Guardian Angel is the same exact as set 4.5. On first death, resurrect back to 400 HP after 3 seconds. Same exact as it was. Any of the damage dealers really can use it here. The Shadow version is a Fallen Guardian Angel, and this does make a pretty big change. So on first death, you resurrect back to 80% max health, but after the res, you have a 50% reduced attack speed detriment. So the big difference here is more health when you res, but reduced attack speed on res. So the regular Guardian Angel is still like mainly a defensive item for carries. But the Shadow Guardian Angel, the Fallen Guardian Angel, is more of like a utility-based item. If you see, I've been putting only 4 costs here. I put Morgana here. Morgana absolutely loves this item because it really, anyone that's on the front line who's a tank, like I have Morgana, I have Rel here, Volibear, like Volibear likes it. He gets good more CC. Like anyone who's going to be getting a lot of their mana back by getting hit anyway really likes this item because the attack speed slow isn't that big on them. Like, you put this on Morgana, you put a Morello on Morgana, and she's going to get at least 2 ults, full ults out, which is going to give you 2 good stuns and a lot of damage. It's a very, very strong item on Morgana. I think she's the best user of it. Now, you see I also put Kayle and Teemo here. The reason I did that is Teemo, if for those who don't know, if Teemo ends up in a 1v1 versus any unit, even if Teemo had 1 health left when the 1v1 starts against another unit, he always wins. It's a built-in Teemo ability. If he gets put into a 1v1, he always wins. Doesn't matter. He literally can't die. So just putting this item on Teemo, and then, you know, he comes back up and there's only their enemy carry left, he always wins. So it's actually pretty good on Teemo. And Kayle, I don't think it's that great on Kayle, but because Kayle's big thing is just getting to the 5th ascension, fully ascending, and then having massive amounts of damage, I feel like putting it on Kayle, if she somehow gets popped at the start, the attack speed debuff is really rough on Kayle, but at the same point, most of the time, if she gets to the full 5 ascension, couple of auto attacks, someone's dead. End of story. So I don't think it's that bad. So if we move over to the next sword item, Bloodthrister. It's a BF sword and a Negatron cloak. It's pretty much the same as 4.5. They actually buffed it some because basic attacks heal for 40% damage dealt. That's normal. Gain a 30% max health shield when first dropping below 40% health. What that means now is it pretty much gives everybody a 40%, like it gives your units an extra shield. It gives them that extra oomph when they're taking a high amount of damage. And since it's a shield, well, the Bloodthirster will still be healing their regular health after the shield pops. So it's like a lot better of an item now. Same thing as before for the AD carries for who can use this. Aphelios, Draven, Jax, Darius. I think all of them absolutely love this item. I don't think there's any time, like, saying not using this would be a bad idea. Now, so if we move over to the Risk Thirster, which is the shadow version of the item, it has one big difference here. Physical damage heals for 40% damage dealt. Physical damage, not just basic attacks, all physical damage, which means somebody's ability, such as Darius, his ability will heal him, not just his auto attacks. So that's something to look out for. Each time you heal above 90% health, you gain a 30% attack speed bonus for 3 seconds. That bonus doesn't stack, so like if you go down, up, down, up, down, up, it can't give you like 90% attack speed that fast, but it will just refresh itself each time. The detriment with this is Holder takes 33% max health damage at the start of the fight. So, the major differences. There's no health shield on the Risk Thirster. You lose the shield that's built into the Bloodthirster. Risk Thirster's healing works on all physical damage, not just auto attacks, and you gain attack speed when you go above 90% health. But you also start damaged. Now, the starting damaged with this extra attack speed going above 90% health actually normally works out together. Draven, Aphelios, Jax, like 2 to 3 auto attacks with a Risk Thirster, and they'll go above 90% health. So Risk Thirster is like a more offensive version of the Bloodthirster, but it still gives healing. I think it's a very good offensive item. I think there's a time when you could use either of these. Bloodthirster is more defensive based with the 30% max health shield. Risk Thirster gives you more damage with the healing. So now other sword item, which changes from most of the sword items, where it goes with needlessly devour rod. It's the Hextech Gunblade. It's the casting healing item. The original version is still the same. Magic and true damage from abilities heal the wearer for 33% of damage dealt. Healing above 100% gives a shield to a max of 300 HP. That's completely normal still. AP carries that can use it: Mord, Vel'Koz, Karma, Garen, Kale, Teemo, Viego. Good on all of them. The Shadow version is the Hextech Gunblade of Immortality. The really big change here is it does a lot more healing. It heals for 60% of the damage dealt, but it heals an ally, and it cannot heal the unit who's holding the item. So pretty much it does more healing, it has no shield built in, and the heal cannot affect the wearer. So for like this item, the big difference is you'd want to put it on like an AP carry who's not really your main carry. You'd put it as like a support unit. Putting it on like a 2 or 3 cost unit that enables your comp, you know, like you're playing a Spellweaver, throwing it on like a Xayah or a Brand wouldn't be bad to give like your main carry a heal, but it's more of a like support type item if you make the Shadow version. Going over to the Spear of Shojin here, we have the BF Sword plus Tear the Goddess. This item did take a pretty substantial change. Instead of being on hit, basic attacks now restore 8 additional mana. What that means is Shojin plus Hurricane no longer works. It gives more mana per auto attack now, just 8 additional mana per every auto attack, but it no longer works on hit, meaning like plus a Shojin, plus a Hurricane, any ability that like hits multiple people with like 1 auto attack, like say Aphelios's, will not proc the extra mana. So it's mainly an AP carry item or like a support caster item. Diana, Vel'Koz, Ivern, Ryze, Heimer, Teemo, Viego, all can use it. Karma is not in this list on purpose. Shojin, you should never pretty much do Shojin on Karma. Blue buff is 1000% better. And unless it's like your very last item and you get stuck with it, I would never do Shojin on Karma because of that. Now, if we move over to the Shadow version, the Spectral Spear of Shojin, basic attacks restore 14 additional mana, so 6 more mana than the regular version. But you deal 20% reduced damage, the holder of the item. So the big difference, you get more mana back, but you deal less damage. So you'd really want that on like some sort of support caster, if anything. So Diana, really good CC. Ivern, more daisies, more daisy ults means more CC, and since Ivern really doesn't do damage himself, that's really good. Ryze would just be more casts, more AoE stuns. Vel is like More Vel ults is really good. Vel ult is a stun, Vel ult is a heal. Vel ult is a shield and a stun. It's really good. Teemo, Viego, Volibear, I just put him there because, like, you know, it's okay. You can do it, but I probably wouldn't. Alright, so Zeke's Herald. BF Sword plus a Giant's Belt. Zeke's is the same. It's a little nerfed. It's 25% attack speed instead of 30. So what this item does for anyone new, you put it on a unit and it gives 25 attack speed to the unit that you put it on, plus the unit on either side of that unit. So it's an aura item that gives the attack speed to 3 units. You'd put this on any unit to buff your carry. You'd just put it on a unit right next to your carry, place them next to each other, your carry gets 25% more attack speed. The Zeke's Bleak Herald, which is the shadow version of a Zeke's Herald, is completely different. Instead of just giving all 3 units in a line, the aura, instead you'd put this on your carry, and it would steal 25% attack speed from the allies on either side of the holder. So the units on either side actually lose 25% attack speed. But the holder of the item gains 40% attack speed for each affected ally, meaning they gain 80% total attack speed if there's an ally on either side. So instead of being an aura item to help all 3 units, it actually only helps the holder of the item. I actually haven't used this item much myself yet. I'm not sure really how strong it is. 80% attack speed is a lot. I could see you like putting this plus like a Ginsu together to like hit max attack speed pretty fast. But I'm on the fence about it because of the huge detriment of making 2 of your other units attack slower. Normally, you're going to put this on like a backline unit, and backline units only really auto-attack to gain their mana. So the 2 units you're stealing mana from, then they're going to take a lot longer to get their ability out. Excuse me, stealing attack speed from, they're going to take a lot longer to get their ability out. And then the last sword item right now is Infinity Edge. It's a BF sword plus a sparring glove, and the regular Infinity Edge is the same as 4.5. It grants every attack, every auto attack, 100% chance of the crit is pretty much what it does. If you add more crit to that unit, it also gives you more crit damage. It works really well with a Jeweled Gauntlet on an AP carry, because IE plus Jeweled Gauntlet means an AP carry gets 100% crit chance on their ability. Their ability always crits. Any AD carry can use this. Any AP carry, as long as it's captured with a Jeweled Gauntlet, can use this. It's a pretty good. So far, I haven't seen many people slamming like a Bramble or like something to negate crits, so it adds a lot of damage to your units. The Sacrificial Infinity Edge is the Shadow version, which does the same exact thing, but it also gains you 30% crit damage, which means pretty much it's giving you 30% more increased damage on each hit. But when your unit crits, so every attack, because IE gives 100% crit bonus, your unit will deal 3% of their max health to themselves as true damage. So you do a lot more damage, but you're also taking damage on every hit. It's really good to pair this item with like a Bloodthirster or Riskthirster for an AD carry, or like a Gunblade with the Jeweled Gauntlet combo. You need pretty much all 3 to make it work with an AP carry, and you completely mitigate the self-damage portion while getting the extra damage. So I think the Sacrificial IE with like a Bloodthirster combo is a really, really good combo. I think that is a fantastic combo, and there's really not much of a downside to it if you can combo it with a Bloodthirster. And again, any of these units can do it. Same as before, you just need to, with an AP unit, combo it with a Jeweled Gauntlet, and with an AD unit, combo it with a Bloodthirster or Riskthirster. The one thing about that is a unit such as Draven, a Legionnaire, Mordekaiser, a Legionnaire. Legionnaires gain healing after they cast their ability. It's somewhat of enough to mitigate the damage that Riskthirster does to them, but most of the time they'll still be taking a little bit of damage, but it'll mitigate most of it. So that's it for all the sword items. I'll be back next video starting with Rod, and we're going to go through a video for every item, so hope to see you back in the next one.